blood clot vibes. Yes, family, large up yourself. With yourself as your host. Sila Shalom, drumming in on the ones and twos. You know how we do. It's a blood clot vibes. The vibes, yes, family. Oshanda, Sia. Respect, yeah. Putin throat. Oshanda, Sia. Respect, yeah. Dreadful Tasman, Yara, Yara, it's the big man. Larger, beautiful, yeah. Shani, where's the big one? Elijah, where's the larger? With the gang, with the tequila, where's the? Where's the? Yes, I. Elijah, wow, where's it? Shout out to the family. How we do. It's a blood clot vibes. You done know, yeah? Just decided to tap in real quick before the great debate comes. You know what I mean? Talk about it for a minute. Shout out to the God Malachi Maccabee. He's going in and do battle within a couple of less than 2 hours, 8 o'clock. We chiming in. I'm gonna post a link in the chat. Let me get it off the phone real quickie. It's a blood clot vibes. Yes, family. How y'all feeling today, yo? Creator blessed, creator, you know what I mean? Gave niggas another day. We outside with it. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. Where that? And the topic of the debate between Malachi Maccabee and the brother is, let me see, hold on. You drop, matter of fact, I'll just drop it in the chat for y'all. How about that? You go on my YouTube. Yeah. Matthew, where it said? Yasso Fits in the building. That's Yasso? Yeah, what up, Yasso? Peace to the righteous God. Yasso Fitz is the brother who coined the term gods and Naravinian goddesses. Gang. That's the acronym for gang and creator gang. God and Naravinian goddesses. You dig? Peace to the righteous God. That's right, gang, gang. All right, I'm about to drop the link in the chat. Oh no, get my phone down. Louis in the building. I dropped the link, but I dropped it from my other page. I just dropped the link. It's coming from Black Royal Family TV. You know how we do. All right. I'm gonna drop. Matter of fact, talk about the debate because, like I said, there's a debate going on. Oh, let me see if I can find a link. I mean, did I just drop the link in there? Well, I don't see the link. Well, I don't see the link to the what I just posted. Did it come through? No, I should even go through. Let me do it again. What time is the debate? I think it's 8 o'clock, if I'm not mistaken. It's 8 o'clock. Damn it! Don't let me drop the link. Let me see something. Hold on. Let me get the other version. Yeah, it's about to be another slaughter. You know what I'm saying? We exposing the false gods. That's just how we do. That's just how we do around these parts. Malachi Maccabee is about to expose Paul like you niggas never heard it before. You know what I mean? All right. Cosmon Cal. Peace to the God Cosmon Cal. You know what I mean? The fiery spirit, the warrior spirit God. You know what I mean? We gonna be like the offsprings of Osir type niggas and shit. I don't know, yo. This shit ain't let me drop the link in the chat, so you know what I mean? Matter of fact, let me see if I can find where the debate page gonna be at, and I can just share my screen. Yeah, I can do it like that. Let me see. Let me this shit. You know what I mean? Let me let the rhythm run. Let me let the rhythm run while we got chat, you know? While we got chat ball. Crazy Gay Gang in the building. It's a blood clot vibes. Yo. I ain't gonna be on for too long because we gotta be in there for the debate. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. Somebody wanna come in? Who wanna come in? Holler at the God. Come holler at the God. Do the link. So yeah, the debate gonna be on Paul, you know what I mean? Exposing the words of Paul like we were touching on last time. You know what I mean? So this is gonna be real interesting debate. Nigga, I'm excited. You know what I mean? Good thing I ain't filming. I can take note and watch. Dead. Lawless Solace. Lawless Solace. That's what I call the idea. That's what I call Wild Solace. My brother, my brethren, Lucci, posted earlier about Paul. He threw me a verse out there. This is the verse the brethren, Lucci, have posted. We're going to go to Romans 14:2. Romans 14:2. It's a blood clot vibes. It's a vibes. Romans 14:2. For one believeth that he may eat all things. Another who is weak eateth herbs. So Paul over here telling niggas, you a weak nigga for eating herbs. For one believeth that he may eat all things. But did Creator say eat all things? Creator say eat them herbs. Keep that body alkaline, because alkaline is the pH of the blood. Meat eating will create inflammation, mucus, and acid in the blood. So what the hell Paul talking about? I just heard somebody click in. I just want to read that verse for the God. Oh, there you go, right there. This is the brother My brother who reached out and sent me this verse. Peace to the God. What do you say, Lucy? What's going on, King?
What's going on, bro? Peace and light. How you doing?
Hey man, cooling, man. Just you know what I mean, just chilling for a hot little minute before this debate between Malachi Maccabee and the other cat go down at 8 o'clock.
Oh, that's going on tonight.
Yeah. You may want to chime in on that one because Malachi Maccabee gonna be exposing Paul something serious.
And where's this gonna be at?
I tried to post a link in the chat, but matter of fact, I'm about to post you. I'm about to hit you with the link now in your messenger, so you can chime in. So what's good with you, King?
Nah, man, just chilling, falling back,
I feel
you know,
you, yo.
doing the everyday struggle,
God damn, you ain't lying about that, bro.
everyday grind.
You ain't lying. This my little escape from that shit when I go live. Try to get a little escape. As soon as I go off live, that pressure hit a
Mhm.
nigga right back, like back to reality.
Okay, I think the link. So it's on YouTube. All right, I was just wondering if it was gonna be on YouTube or not.
Yeah, these cats, I think they be having like debates, maybe paying out and shit like that.
So Malachi Maccabee is debating against Paul, and the cat he's debating against is debating for Paul. That he's a disciple of Christ or what have you.
Yeah, I think the topic is Paul, a false apostle. I think it sounds like that. Is Paul a false apostle? And there's another part to it. I forgot the second part.
I think me personally, for my research, I mean, because I've been through the phases like Christianity, you know. Um, but from my understanding, I think Paul would be a false apostle. But at the same time, I think um, I wouldn't. I know there's some data out there, I guess, that would imply that he was intentionally doing certain things. I know he had beef with James and what he called the circumcision. You know, every time he's talking about the circumcision, he's talking about James and the Torah keepers, basically. You know, James being the brother of Jesus or what have you. He basically James took the mantle after Yeshua died, because that was
That's
his
true.
brother.
And that's
So
basically, and that's funny because that's basically what Malachi Maccabee is gluing. He's showing that James was the light bearers of Yeshua, while Paul is over here never met the nigga, spitting
mhm.
something diverse from what the light bearers, and like you said, speaking against James and them, beefing with them boys. So
Yeah, I think what it was with Paul, I think he was a false apostle, but I think if anything, he was more or less a misguided apostle. I
right,
think he
yeah,
was
you know what?
misguided
That makes sense because when you read his letters, it do sound he's a little misguided.
because he
That don't.
sounds genuine, like he genuinely believes what he's saying, and in reality, a lot of the things he says are like in agreement with what the OSB teaches, as far as when he's talking about heavenly powers and stuff like that, so to a certain degree, transmutation and things of that nature. It's just his whole thing is he's not obeying
See
the Torah.
some
My bad, you were kind of what you say?
no, say it again. I think my signal had died out. I came back for a second.
Nah, I was saying that Paul genuinely believed in what when you read his letters, you
Right.
could tell he genuinely believes in what he's spitting. But with him, what was the point I was getting at? Because I just lost it.
Now you said there was a couple comparisons that he spoke that can parallel with a waspy, like the terrestrial and the
Oh
celestial.
no, no, yes, yeah, you're right. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. There is a lot of teachings. Like he has some teachings in there when he talks about like heavenly powers and the transmutation and things of that nature that I can see correlations with in the Owaspy and other occult New Age type of texts.
Right.
Um, but at the same time, he was disregarding the Torah, which
Right.
had to be kept for the faithists of Israel at that time, the Sabbath and all that.
Now
Was still
would be interesting because
what's
the
up.
Torah that they would have been upholding would have the Torah that Ezra would have been produced. So that's kind of interesting if to see if James was following basically the Ezra Torah, or was it more like Yeshua kind of differentiated certain things? Because Yeshua kind of spoke like in your law it says this, and you're like he was essentially saying like nigga that's your shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm over
Yep.
here, but
Hmm.
that's your shit. I'm curious to see if Yeshua was aware of the Ezra scribes and the Ezra Bible, basically, in comparison to the original Mosaic laws that was destroyed, that was burnt away, like we were speaking last time.
Well, he definitely would have been well versed in that if he was sitting there kicking and rubbing elbows with like, scribes or what have you, and he was over here, reading and preaching the temple. He would have known all that. You get what I'm saying? But he also would have known that the original Torah was burnt. You get what I'm saying? So he would have knew the history and knew that a lot of that shit was just, stitched together by Ezra and his crew by
Right,
different, those were different traditions by different priestly guilds that had opposing beliefs. They're competing beliefs.
right,
That's why you have so many contradictions in the Old Testament, especially because there's a bunch of
right.
competing guilds that don't really agree with one another. They were all at one point vying for power over the people, the kingdom, or what have you, under the monarchy. And that's just what Ezra did. He just went out, found all that shit, all that was left of, the elites or whatever, their writings, and then he went, he plagiarized other stories and shit like that, which makes sense because he would have had access to the libraries because Persia damn near, you know, conquered the whole Near East. They had control of everything. So he would have had access to records or what have you.
He would have
And
had access to the
yeah,
Babylonian tablets too.
yeah, he would have had access to all of that. They would have gave him. He was favored by the Persians. He was like he did everything under their auspices. They told him to go rebuild the temple, and they told him to go to go compile a text that was under their auspices. You know what I'm saying? So Ezra was doing what he was commanded to do, and that's when Israel went from a monarchy to a theocracy. Monarchy, a king ruling everything, and then now the leadership turned to priests. And Ezra went in to rule, what have you, and then that's when he established the written law, and now everybody had to start eating meat because everybody had to sacrifice. The religion was now centralized in Jerusalem at the temple, you know, as opposed to like I think in Genesis prior you were able to build uh, an altar anywhere, but then in other traditions in the Old Testament you're not allowed to build an altar anywhere. The only altar that is legit is the altar in Jerusalem. And then the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom will compete. It would, it's the altar of Shiloh, what have you, and then or Bethel, whatever, you know what I mean, the north, and then shit like that was all politics.
Exactly. Facts.
That's all that was. What all that. So that's
Politics
what
of the
Ezra
gods
compiled together
became
something.
politics of men. So,
Yeah, pretty much. You got the Aaronids, the priestly guild, which is the Aaronids. You got the Yahwist, which are traditionally, I guess, the native Israelites or what have you, or just southern priests that recognize Yahweh. You had the Elohis, which were a sect of Levites, priestly crew, and then you had the Deuteronomists, which were also Levites, and they wrote Deuteronomy and then certain histories like Kings, First and Second Kings, or what have you. So once you understand this about the documentary hypothesis, and you start to critically read the Torah for what it is, or the Tanakh, which is basically a compilation of competing traditions, and you read it critically, you start to see the doublets of stories, the competition, or what have you. At
keep
one
building.
point, Moses' staff, and then another text is Aaron's staff. So obviously, the author who's writing saying that it's Aaron's staff, in opposition to the other author that's saying that it's Moses' staff, you can tell already that they respect Aaron over Moses. So in their text, you're always going to see Aaron doing things that Moses is supposed to be doing because they look at Aaron as being greater.
Exactly. All those politics. Facts.
Yeah, and then with the Levites, the Deuteronomists, because the Deuteronomists don't recognize the Aaronites. The priestly guilds are speaking because in their text, they always emphasize that only the Aaronites, those are the sons of Aaron, can be priests. Only the sons of Aaron can eat this. Only the sons of Aaron can walk into the sanctuary and do this and sacrifice, blah, blah, blah. Those are all the priestly texts. They speak like that. They emphasize the progeny of Aaron. But when you read the Deuteronomist text, they don't emphasize the Aaronic caste. They say all Levites are priests, which is not true. You got to be a Levite to be a priest, but all Levites weren't priests. It was just the progeny of Aaron. They were called to be priests. But the Deuteronomists would disagree. So they were already vying for power, and you see that with Korah and his rebellion. So there was always competition there. And it started with the Levites, and they had the code of animal sacrifice. and that's how that all got established. And they did it through the kings, and they finally established it through, you know, being in Babylon, being in exile, and then being under the Persians. And King Cyrus let them free, and according to Owaspi, King Cyrus was under the influence of Lumon.
That's what I'm saying. That Torah them niggas was reading is Luamong's Torah, Luamong inspiration. So from the time of Ezra coming to the time of Yeshua, nigga got Luamong book.
Pretty much.
Or I say Luamong inspiration because they just selected the stories that already existed. So that's interesting nonetheless, though.
And Paul was a Pharisee, so Paul would have been into, like, you know, the Talmud and stuff like that, and the writings. And Pharisees weren't necessarily bad, but because, you know, they went into a lot of traditions or what have you, they at least believed in an afterlife and angels and demons, because the Sadducees didn't. The Sadducees were like secular. They were like very materialist. They believed that this life was the be all end all, and after this was it. Your only chance was here and now, and they didn't believe in the afterlife. They believed in the Most High, but they didn't believe in the afterlife, angels or demons or nothing like that.
Facts.
And they were the ones that were in control of the temple at that time, the Sadducees.
Facts. Excellent. Peace, King. What's good? Marquise Bay?
What's up? What's up, y'all?
Peace. What's going on, fam?
I'm kind of new for real, and I was doing my little studies on this little Owaspi Bible, whatnot. I'm kind of interested in it, or whatever.
Right.
My thing is, I don't know if y'all went across it or not. Now when they say this God, when they use the word God, my research and my deep reading, I took it as God is just a king. If I'm right, I'm asking a question like he's just like a king of kings. For instance, Queen Elizabeth, to her nation, she's a god. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
There's plenty of times in the Bible they say that Moses was God to Aaron. He was God to Pharaoh. You know, and I just want to hear y'all feedback on what I'm talking about.
Definitely. God basically is a title bestowed on an angel. The same way king and president is a title bestowed on a mortal or human being. So it's just a position of rank in the kingdom. So God, so God. He's in a position of the whole heavenly kingdom. So he'll be considered like captain of the planet. And then you have ranking angels under him, Lord gods, and they rule over districts, countries, and continents. And then below them is lords who rule over cities and nations. So it's a systematically set up, you know what I mean, globally over the planet, how the heavenly kingdoms are arranged over the planet. But God is no more than a captain of the planet, not to be confused with the creator.
Like a king of kings, right?
Yeah, because exactly, because there could only be one God sitting on the throne.
Exactly.
But this God is not being honored and praised or nothing like that, because all the praise and honor goes to the creator.
It's supposed to be. These days, people are just worshiping Jesus or
they're worshiping the gods.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I was just interested. I want to come in so you can hear or see me come in and out, whatever.
So no, you good. We just building. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We getting ready for this debate for my man Malachi Mack and be at 8 o'clock. You know what I mean? They're gonna be debating this Paul, a false apostle.
On this channel? On this panel?
Nah. Damn. It's gonna be on YouTube, but I couldn't put the link in the chat because I don't know why I won't let me put the link in there. But if somebody could perhaps put the link in the chat.
Well, I need that link.
My man Hilltop in the building. Peace to the righteous God. I see you, Hilltop. Yeah, but yeah. Hopefully somebody can put the link in.
Do you think like the local library have the Owaspi Bible? Because I need it in my hands.
Shoot, you could get off of Amazon for like $25, $30, but I went to one library and shockingly it was in there. I was shocked.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a library. I was downtown in Atlanta, and I seen that shit. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
You can
but
find it.
it's,
It's
it's
not
only like
common.
25, $35. It's only like $25 or $30 on Amazon. They got it real cheap, and that's crazy for a book like this to be so cheap. You know what I mean? Just hop
Mm-hmm.
on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
word
Yeah. I'm,
up.
I'm just listening now, y'all.
No doubt, Ken. We just building for a little while. Lucy, you want to touch on that as far as God's position or on
I
your
mean,
perspective?
you pretty much hit the nail on the head as far as like what God is or what have you. But I mean, at the
Just
same
for your
time,
perspective, though, you know what I'm saying? Although
yeah, I
it's
mean,
the same perspective, but in your wordings and shit.
oh yeah, well, God is. I want to say God is King of Kings. I'll just say He's a King over angels. I would consider like the Creator King of Kings or what
Right.
have you. But if you want to consider Creator King or Queen or what have you, but you can consider Creator like God in the sense that He's God, like the Creator is God over gods, all gods and goddesses.
Right. Right.
But we just don't call the Creator God because we understand systematically, that God, like if you're gonna say that, I guess the best way to, I mean, there's really no crime in it, but like if me, I would just specify if I'm talking about God as far as the captain, I just say the God of heaven and earth.
Okay. I want to see. just want to see is going by everything right now. Elohim is his name, right?
Elohim is just a title meaning gods with the S
Right.
at the end,
Right.
plural.
Right. 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 But what do y'all say his name is?
Well, there's many
All
names for the
encompassing.
gods. But go ahead. You want to touch on that, Louis? Go ahead.
You have
I'm
to
not.
say he's all
I'm
encompassing because
not
Elohim.
talking
Go
guys.
ahead,
I'm
my bad, bro.
creator, like the creator.
My bad.
Say-
Say that again. Sorry.
I'm not talking about the King of Kings God. I'm talking about the creator.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Elohim, you can consider that a name because you have all in the name. And certain titles the creator has in Owaski is the all. He is the all highest, all light. And if you
So,
look at
so,
El, usually if you look at the original Hebrew, it's not El, it's A-L, all,
so,
Alain. Mm-hmm.
so Awasbi don't have a name for this, um, for Elohim.
No, the
Yeah, the
Owaski has
Elohim.
names for the creator, but that's just the name has to signify an ever-present entity that you don't see as a regular man or woman, not an idol.
That's why he always got a title. He don't have an actual name.
No, you have names. The name just has to indicate that it's an ever-present spirit. So if you say Yahweh, you know, Yahweh means, or you have Afe means he that exists, he that causes things to be, he is existence.
And then
My,
in the
my,
Owaspy, they describe he as motion. So in order for things to come into existence, motion has to be. So in the Owaspy, when it says Yahuwah, and when you look at the root, the primary root word for Yahuwah being Hawa, it means to become in existence. So it's not even referring to a deity, but it's referring to the all motion. And when the all motion, that's when it begins. So we
uh,
call him just for we call him Yahuwah or Jehovah based off the essence of what the word means, meaning to become. That's not associated with a deity, and meaning things to become into creation. And the force that causes things to come into creation in the Owaspy, it explains as a vortexia current, as described in nature as like whirlwinds and hurricanes and vortices and
right,
cyclones and things of that
right.
nature.
Uh, I just lost train of thought. Um, my research took me to Yahweh or Yah or whatever name we want to use it with the Yah in it. My study took is it's not a deity at all. It's like a thought pattern. It's basically, how can I say this? Like a school. It's a school of thought. Um, what I mean by that, Yahweh have started the alphabet. He started tool making. Um, what's the other word they put in there? But basically, you know what I'm saying. He's like the first like the first. Like I said, it's a school of thought. That's what Yahweh is. It's a school. That's why they always made a temple for him. So it was like everybody went to basically study, and then priests and if you really doing research, The word priest just means scientist, and that's what's shocking to me.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. Because even in Daniel chapter 1:4, when they talk about King Espionage was choosing the royal house of Judah, he chose cunning men, and that was smart, and it says that was cunning
Right,
in science.
right, right.
So, like, science is basically the study of nature. To be honest, studying the minerals, the elements. You know what I mean? Studying the
Exactly.
combinations.
Now you know
And-
what I'm saying. Now you
yeah,
understand. What I'm saying. So
yeah.
I gotta get this OYSP Bible. You know what I'm saying? Because if I talk to other people about this, they're like, "Oh, you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong."
And
Oh,
that's
I'm
why we call
really
out for the
going to
debates.
study.
That's why we call out for the debates, because whoever feels that this information is off, we challenge them. We'll challenge them on a theological level. If they got the Bible, if they got the Quran, if they got Kemetic literature, we could cross-reference the information and see which one is really making sense and coinciding with actual creation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So once we find information in a book that coincide with actual creation, then we have to give merit to the book. The more we could find that coincide with creation in a book, the more the book has merit. The less we could find that the book can coincide with creation, the less the book has merit. So if we're talking about a Genesis story and God created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, you know what I mean? That's not realistic in nature. But in the Owaspy, it says, before anything is created, I created a vortex first. And we can see vortexy in nature through galaxies, spiraling galaxies, through hurricanes and tornadoes. So that makes it valid because it's proven. It's an objective, proven thing we can see in nature. So you definitely probably want to get your hands on the Owaspy. It's a big book. It's like an encyclopedia. You know what I mean? Just take your time with it, no rush, and you know what I mean. Let the inner voice inside you
No,
guide
you know you can't rush these things. You know what I'm saying?
you.
Because you'll learn something, and the next year and just advance where you was at a year ago. So you could be wrong. You know what I'm saying? At the beginning when you read these books, and a year later you'll be like, "Oh, that's what they mean." You know what I'm saying? So no, you can't
Right.
rush these books. You know, so
I had somebody come back like 6 years later who was a anti-Owaspian, and they came back like 6, 7 years later, you know what I mean, to apologize because,
hmm
it finally settled in and they realized the merit of the information. And they were like, you know what? Yeah, nigga, you was right. I ain't gonna even front.
hmm
You know what I mean?
hmm
Now, you ain't got to accept the whole book, but it's about 85, 95% of the book. It's really, you know what I mean, insightful.
exactly.
You
Um,
understand?
what I was just gonna say, because I got a lot I want to say, so I'm my mind
Nah,
going
you good.
everywhere.
Take your
So,
time.
so these kings of kings, these people wasn't just like Moses. Moses wasn't a he wasn't a dummy. He wasn't just a military war fiend. These guys was geniuses. They was like basically scientists. You know, even like some of our presidents. These presidents wasn't just dummies. They wasn't just going to war. These people knew
But
something.
remember one thing that the scriptures say. It stated that Moses was learned in the wisdom of the Egyptians. So the Egyptians was the real scientists. They was the ones who had the science on building. You know what I mean? If you look at all the masonry stone structures,
hmm
the hieroglyphs, they had the
hmm
mystery schools in ancient Egypt. And Moses grew up in the house of Pharaoh. And we talking about the Middle Kingdom. Towards the end of the Middle Kingdom is where the time period of Moshe. You know, he was raised up in the house of Amenemhet III. That's who Moses' stepfather would have been. So if you go to ancient Egypt, go to the Middle Kingdom, and if you read the literature of Amenemhet III, you would have got a glimpse of what Moshe would have been learning from his stepfather. Because the
hmm
literature of Amenemhet IV is right. It's there. You can read it. You know what I'm saying?
hmm that's why Egypt is called the House of Ptah. You know, he was a great architect and a tool maker and stuff like that. And that's the same thing with Yah. That's what basically he was like I said, it was a school. So it's just a
Right.
title. So
The mystery schools was definitely in Egypt at the time. That's where a lot of that's where a lot of people came and learned the mysteries. You know what I mean? And see, this is what some commissions don't even believe or don't accept. The mystery schools is spirit communion. They was learning by communicating through the angels directly the mysteries of of whatever the course may have been. You know what I'm saying?
So deep
These
is this
niggas was
the angels that
turning
walk
water.
among them.
Say it
So what?
again, Louis.
I said they were in spiritualism so deep with the angel communication that I think angels were like walking among them. I think that was what was
Yeah,
saying.
that we say the angels walking them. Now, if we brought that to the Kemetic cast, they're gonna think we crazy. But when you read the literature, when you read the Coming Forth by Day and Night or the Book of the Dead, you're gonna see that they're dealing with spirit communion. So it's like and when you bring that to them, you know what I mean? Some will be like Shaka. I give a salute to Shaka because he deal with the literature. He deals with it. It's like, nigga, this is what's going on. You know what I mean? So he ain't, so if he call these niggas out, say, yo, y'all was worshiping Osiris because the literature say so. Oh no, that ain't what it mean, brother. But nigga, that's what the book says. So what you gonna try to blame the translator now? You know, they're gonna try to play
What
little
Shaka?
games to
Shaka you
avoid dealing
talking
with
about?
spirituality.
What Shaka you talking about? The new Shaka, the French Shaka.
I'm talking about Shaka who be on side of the TV.
Oh,
Shaka Amos.
Yeah, Shaka Amos.
okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with the God, but yeah, he be putting in that pain.
Mm-hmm.
But saying that to say, like, a lot of the science and a lot of the mysteries definitely came out of Egypt. Definitely
You
came
think
out
you,
of
you think everything came out of Egypt?
not everything, but
Okay, that's all I
you know,
wanted.
because we got to put a time period on it. You see what I'm saying? The time period of Moses was 15th century BC. So
Mm-hmm.
the knowledge Moses would have learned would have been during the Middle Kingdom of Egypt. So like he would have learned the knowledge of Khufu and Khafre because that was damn near 1,000 years prior to Moses. So he wouldn't have been studying that. He would have been studying what his stepfather would have been teaching him because he was raised in the house of Pharaoh since a child. So as a stepson, you would have raised your stepson with the values of being the upcoming Pharaoh.
Mm-hmm.
But being that he wasn't a legitimate son of Pharaoh, he couldn't sit on the throne. And that's why his daughter took over Sobek Nephru, and she was the last Pharaoh of the Middle Kingdom before it collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
And according to Owaspi, pre-dynastic Egypt was under the influence of the Persians.
And
So
it's funny you bring that up, Louis, because that's a hot topic because the question need to be asked, if Narmer unified Upper and Lower Egypt 3100 BC, and when you look at the Narmer palette, he's slaying men. The question is, who are those men he is slaying? And if he is slaying those men to take territory, that lets you know that these people were occupying the region while Narmer was coming to do battle with him.
yeah, and if Narmer was also a Scorpion King, there was a good chance he was Akkadian.
Facts, because we see the Akkadian influence with the selling the seals in the Nakata fate. The Nakata third period, you see the selling the seal with the entwined like giraffe necks going up, and you see that on the Narmer palette. But you only see that in Mesopotamia. It's about 3 or 4 reliefs you can find in
Right.
Mesopotamia with the
Right.
with the serpent looking long giraffe necks, but you
Mm-hmm.
only see that once on the Narmer palette. Only once you see it on the Narmer palette, but you
And
see
they
it
also have
multiple
the sun
times.
shield. You also see the sun shield in Persia and the sun, even R, whatever, all these terminologies. You look at UR, AUR, what have you, they all relate to light. It all means light. Or
Fact.
in Hebrew, light is or,
Right,
OR,
right.
OUR. You know what I'm saying? And
You know, the vowels could be interchangeable
usually,
too.
hmm?
I said the vowels could be interchangeables too, like you were saying. Like so, the or be you are is still or because it's a vowel. You see what I'm saying?
So you see that, and then the ancient Zarathustrians or the Zoroastrians, I mean, the creator for them, even the Oaspi is Ormazd. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you see that light of intelligence or what have you. So you see that. So when you see or whatever, you see the influence of the Faithists, or Kesh, or the Horites. You know what I'm saying? The Horians. You know what I mean? You see all these. You see light in their name. So
Right. Facts.
And a lot of these Egyptians wasn't Egyptians. Y'all know that, right? Some of them wasn't all Egyptians, like y'all said. Some
There
of
were
the
a lot of them were Persians. There were Persians and Canaanite. Like I say
Pharaohs.
this, like a lot of them Egyptians was from the regions of Mesopotamia, Syria, Canaan, coming on down into the Levant.
Thank you, man. Hang on.
Because
Like
the real Nubians, the real Cushites or whatever name the Nubians, they come from the south, the Sudanese and area. You know what I mean? Ethiopia,
right.
and then they travel up the river. But when you get to like where the pyramid is built, all that those people migrated from, like the brother was saying, Persia. And that's something that people will argue. You know what I'm saying? But this is pre-dynastic times we're talking.
And some of them was Hittites. It was a whole different
It's a
variety.
mixed multitude. Everybody coming from Canaan is a mixed multitude because you got people coming from Mesopotamia. You got people coming from
Exactly.
my the damn, what's the damn civilization? Mycenaean, the
Hmm.
Etruscans, like all those regions, Europe, all that, Asia,
Right.
all that was a mixed multitude coming into that small canal called Canaan, coming into Egypt. So that's why
Yeah,
Hmm.
some of
Canaan was
the
a multi-ethnic group.
Exactly.
So Canaan is
exactly,
multi-ethnic. If
exactly,
you look at their reliefs or whatever, they look all. Some of them were dark, some of them were lighter, some of them were olive, some of them were tawny. You know what I'm saying? Some of them
exactly,
were amber in complexion.
That's why
exactly.
But
when you look at the walls of Egypt, everybody want to say all of them was a dark skin and color, but they wasn't. If you look on the walls and some of these these pictures, these people had light skin looking people in there. They had brown skin, real dark skin looking people. So you can't just say, uh, well, it was just Egyptians. No, I think they just calling themselves Egyptians because from where they
And
at
then
living
honestly,
at.
if you look at some of the reliefs and if you analyze some of the information in the literature, the Nubians and the Egyptians was beefing. They got pictures
Exactly.
where they got Egyptians and Nubian captives, like they whipping them niggas and shit.
and look at the Nubian phenotypes, how the Egyptians picture the Nubians. They don't look like the Egyptians.
Exactly.
You look
Exactly.
at the
Like the
Nubians, you
Nubians
look,
look got that Negroid look. The Egyptians look more Asiatic.
yeah,
Exactly.
the Nubians are more Congoid, you know what I'm saying, their appearance. You know, so
Right.
I won't say
So
Exactly.
Negroid
normal,
because
because Norma
mhm.
made him a Asiatic woman.
Say it
So
again.
Norma, Norma, the king, first was supposed to be the first Egyptian king.
Uh huh.
He brought Upper and Lower Egypt together. So
Right.
my studies, what I have been reading, that he married a Asiatic woman. You know, that was like a part of his crowning. You know what I'm saying? So, and then what else I wanted to say? Nimrod, not Nim, yeah, Nimrod. He was a pharaoh also. I think he was like the first pharaoh in Egypt.
No, I think Nimrod was a Babylonian. I think he. Matter of fact, no, Nimrod was the first to build up actually Sumer. He was.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Yeah. He built up Sumer.
In the
exactly,
Bible,
And,
the other Bible say he's a Cushite.
exactly.
exactly.
So look at that. So honestly, the Hebrews really got no legs to stand on because you got Sumer being built up by a Cushite, and then the region he built up is the same region where Abraham comes out of, and then you got Narmer establishing the first kingdom coming out of Egypt, and he's a goddamn nigga. You know, some scholars I had say he came from the south, so they say he come from Nubia or whatever. You
In my,
know,
my studies, you know, I have a Hebrew etymology. I don't think a lot of people know about it, the book. So they saying that Nimrod was Osiris.
And on
So
the Osiris supposedly was Asar. Well, he's Asar. And I think they do say somewhere he was a Syrian or something like that.
yeah, because even in the Owaski it talks about how Asa they'll later be called the Assyrians. And then that's interesting how like Assyrian and you're the Asa. So I'm like that's. And then when you really think about it,
And if you look at
in the book,
Osiris' name
but you
before he
got to think
became
about it,
Osiris,
all of it is in the same area. You know what I'm saying? And every pharaoh wasn't just in Egypt. He probably ruled Egypt, but he probably in the southern part of Ethiopia. He probably was in Sumeria. You know what I'm saying?
no,
So
that's
but
true. That's right because Osiris had dominion not only in what we know as Egypt, but he had dominion in Mesopotamia too. He had
exactly,
that region
because of
also
Baal and Ashtaroth,
say it again, King.
he had dominion over there because of Baal and Ashtaroth. They had dominion over there for him. That's when they were in
Right,
coalition.
but before Ballad off broke off, when it was just Osiris, Sukkot, and Ten, Osiris had basically the whole Middle East, while
Yep.
Sin and Telugu had the Far East. And then when Ball and Ashtaroth broke alliance from Persia, the whole shit.
I didn't hear you, bro. Your thing just chopped
So
up
I'm like,
real.
that's why they're the
No, yeah, when they broke off, everything definitely. That's when you had the That's when Osiris's kingdom fell, and then that's when you start seeing like civil wars in like Egypt or what have you. And that would have
Right,
been like the first period. You know what I
right.
mean? That would intermediate period would have been like during the time Osiris fell. But when you talk about Osiris originally being an Asiatic, and according to Waspi, remember his name prior to taking the name of Osiris was Chili Mung.
Hold on. So you
Facts.
in the
Yeah.
so you saying in the Owaspy, they saying that Osiris was Asiatic?
Doesn't say
No,
he's
no, no.
Asiatic,
He just saying his original name in the Owaspy is Chilimung, which sounds Asiatic.
and in the Owaspi, his name is Chili Mung. That's his real name. He takes on the name Osiris, which wasn't a name exclusive to him. It was actually a name that was favored by gods, probably more than likely because, according to Owaspi, an original Etherian, which was on the side of the creator, was named Osiris.
Yo,
So
sorry, right.
that name probably became, an honorable name
Popular.
to have, kind of like with the Arabs, the name Muhammad. You see a lot of them with that name or what have you, or Zarathustra, something like that. It means golden camel. So that,
Right.
camels and horses were prized in those regions. So to name somebody after a camel or a horse was to be honorable. Well, this was the same thing.
And
Then
These Muslims are very stubborn to the point you tell them something like that, like Asar is Osiris, and y'all got it in y'all prayers and whatnot, and they be like, no, but it's there, like it's there.
What you mean? Amen, you mean?
Ah man, no, Asar. Asar is one of their rituals or whatnot, a prayer or whatnot, a statue or whatever you want to call it. So Asar is there. Like they have a saying. They say Asar. I'm probably saying it wrong. Asar Akbar.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay, okay.
Yeah. So Muslims, they're very stubborn on
Hmm?
the studies whatnot.
Though, but yeah, man, the saw like in the Owaspy, like they got the stories of these deities in there. Their scheme to take over. You know what I mean? Globally, try to take over the world and shit like that. Like the whole New World Order concept. Nigga, these gods been trying to do that shit for eons.
Yeah, it's just the elites. The elites trying to take control, and it's the same concept. You should see that same concept in the Owaspy, just as it is above, so it is below. You know what I mean? It
Right.
happens in the heavens first, and then you see that's the cause, and then you see the effect on the earth, and that's what we have going on now. You have elites trying to, that's what the whole Great Reset is. They're trying to basically get rid of the middle class and just have rich and poor, where the elite are the rich and they're the minority, and the majority of everybody else is going to be serfs. And they're
And
going to do that with authority, not liberty, authority. That's how
Facts.
you know it's not of the creator. But in my opinion, we could debate this or whatever, but I just feel like that has to happen now in reality.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. 'Cause the cycles show you that too. The cycles of history shows you that it has happened and it will happen again. Hopefully, it's at a time where we missed a motherfucker or generations miss it, but it's gonna happen again. Because you remember, in the OSP says that Uz must fall before Jehovah's kingdom can be established.
Exactly. So capitalism has to end because the basis of capitalism is competition, right?
Facts.
But it gives you freedom because you have the freedom to, or you're supposed to at least have the freedom to elevate yourself, remain
Right.
stagnant somewhere, or you can stay poor if you want. You can own your own business. You can save up money, own your own business or whatever. At a certain point, you was able to do that. But now with communism is another, economic, viewpoint where everybody's equal. You know what I'm saying? The power is supposed to be in the people, but you don't really see that. Before you see communism, you see socialism. And socialism is basically when the government owns it, where they run everything. They're in charge of everything.
So
You know,
for you saying that, it's like the people is asking for it, but they don't want it, but they asking for it. Like for example, when people um ah, like people vote on these presidents, right? And people will ask for a Democrat. So it's like the people are asking to be uh in a lower class and let these people be independent over them. So I think it's going to happen like that anyway.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get a democratic, liberal, economic world order. That's gonna, it's gonna come to pass, because that's what's being brought up in the colleges. When people go to college, that's what most professors talk about: capitalism, the dangers of capitalism, and the corruption of capitalism, or what have you, and gentrification, and all these things like that. Which, to a degree, is important to know, but that's all they, harp on. So they're just bringing up the new generation. That's really what it's about. It's about the new generation. They're going to succeed with these things with the new generation. The new generation is going to accept these things. The millennials and so on after that, and their kids, digital age, and so on and so forth.
Mm.
So they're going to accept the spirit of Antichrist. Those of us that know better than know how things were, we can only fight so much, but eventually we just going to die off. You know what I'm saying? So, like I say, they have to win. But see, the thing that's a progressive mind, though.
Mhm.
That's the liberal, progressive mind. And when I say liberal, liberal means freedom, and the WASP promotes freedom, but not through force, not through what they're doing. But God of heaven and earth makes that very clear. They don't promote their kingdoms through force.
Okay,
That's
on
why
y'all,
we're not tolerated. Go ahead.
I want y'all feedback because I don't got the WASP. I just been doing my little smaller research on it. What do a WASP? I'm not gonna take y'all word for it, but I want to hear it. You know, what do they say about Jesus?
He was a prophet.
Yeah.
He was heir to the voice of the Creator. And he
Mhm.
was the Israelite people,
Mhm.
to get them back on track. But he wasn't like sent to the whole world.
Right.
There's other people for that. I'm just saying, before him, you had Buddha or Siddhartha, and you had Confucius. You know, uh, he would have just been part of that trinity. You know what I'm saying? But he was sent to the Hebrew people, the faithists that were over in
So,
the Middle Eastern regions.
so in a sense, Jesus is God, but the word they're using is confusing to the people. Where he was the King of Kings, he was the last bloodline of the Hebrews. You know, so and the only reason why he didn't take the throne as much because Ptolemy came ruling, Rome came and took over, and that's why they were trying to kill him to hide the bloodline of Kings of Kings.
No, well, I wouldn't say that he's God, because you even had early Christian sects that didn't believe the divinity of Jesus, and they also, some of them didn't believe the Immaculate Birth. It was just that he was immortal because he called himself the Son of Man. To be the Son of Man because you're mortal. So he was definitely mortal, and he was the Son of God in the sense that anybody who's in alignment with the Creator is one with the Creator. And in that sense, when you're one with the Creator, if you're male, you're considered a son. If you're female, you're considered a daughter. So that's what he meant when he said that. He was one with the Father, he's the Son. And that's all he was really relating to. I mean? But he definitely had a mission, and that was to get the Israelites back on track, to get them under the oppression of the written law and the traditions that the Pharisees and the scribes or what have you, the priestly elite, put on the people. They were living lavishly while the people were living in poverty, and they had to come and sacrifice animals to the temple for the remission of their sins, which was never authorized. They did that through corruption.
So,
So we
so
see
the
that today.
so
Go
the
ahead.
oh, really talk about Jesus for real.
Say it again.
So a WASP Bible don't talk about Jesus for real.
It talks about Jesus. It just doesn't talk about him too much, because I mean, there's so many other texts that talk about him. There's so many gospels. You have the New Testament. There's no reason to really touch on him like that. They
Exactly.
already they did enough of that. They did enough
I'm
corruption,
Old
enough
Testament.
truth.
I'm an Old Testament type person. I don't uh, subscribe to the New Testament because the New Testament to me, when I read it, is talking about the fall of the Israelites, the fall of Jesus. The 12 disciples, all of them portrayed um, Jesus, not just Judas. Judas just did it, sold him out. The rest of them like got beat up, like Paul. He got beat up by the Roman guards and beat him up and told him not to speak on their Messiah like that. And that's why we are in the same state of mind now to this day because Roman powers put a dogma in it. And it's crazy because the Bible speaks on it at the same time. So to me, I just feel like the New Testament is just basically like we snitching on the Romans. If you
Yeah,
really,
the Romans had nothing to do with Jesus dying. That was all synagogue is saying. That was all those corrupt.
they accused him. I wouldn't say they killed him.
Yeah, there's no records of them crucifying Jesus or anything like that. They don't have no records of that. And if they would have crucified Jesus, trust me, he would never came off that cross, because that's not how they do things. When they crucify people, that was a public humiliation. And you when you was on the cross, you rotted on that cross.
Yeah, them
And Rome
Jews,
made
man, them
sure
niggas
that
was
shit.
dirty back then, yo.
And if you look at Acts, they tell you that he was killed and he was hung on a tree. So they killed him and they hung him on a tree.
So what Jews is y'all speaking of? I'm thinking it was the Ashkenazi Jews that accused Jesus, and
Well, you know what? It don't even matter the nationality because they actions is proven otherwise. So it could have been some Ashkenazis, some Sephardics, some
exactly,
niggas, all the niggas on the same page with the bullshit.
exactly,
Yeah, because he was threatening the power. He was threatening their power,
Right. It was
and their power was through their written law. That's how they oppressed the people. That's why if you look at every time he interacted with the scribes and the Pharisees, what did they always debate? They debated the interpretation of the law.
right. Because Hemrod, if I'm saying his name right, the one that tried to kill Jesus at birth, he was an Edomite. So he
Talking
was
about Herod,
Herod. That's his name. Herod. What
Herod,
did I
King
say?
Herod.
But yeah, he was an Edomite, and a lot of these people think the Edomites were um just white people, and that's far from the truth.
I want to say a lot of people. I just think that's a certain sect of Israelites that believe that, and it's not true. But that's just what they want to believe. I mean, it's cool. I mean, you know.
Right.
So
Like
we
like
don't.
OG,
The
like OG,
WASP people talk about Edom, so we don't even worry about Edom.
right. And my studies took me because, like I told you, I got a Hebrew etymology. So they said that Edom was Carthage, and Hannibal um was an Edomite.
Yeah, I can't speak on that. I wouldn't know. You know anything about that, Sailor?
You know me, man. I don't be at this point, I don't even be up on that type of time, man. It's like if the nigga was a Edomite, an Israelite, a Hamite, you know what I mean? Like now it's good to investigate those studies, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? But it's like for where we at with it, those things are irrelevant because you know what I mean. Our spiritual system don't stop with carnal flesh.
I un- I
It don't
understand.
stop with that. We
It
focus more on the flesh and blood.
like he chopping up
You know what
real
I mean?
bad.
We, yeah. My signal went out. And I said flesh and blood can't inherit the kingdom. So with that, you know what I mean? We get caught up in flesh and blood. But if we get caught up in flesh and blood, we ain't gonna inherit the kingdom. You see what I'm saying? So it's like nationality and knowing your nationality is an excellent thing, but that's not the end all be all. It's like it's way more to it than that. The heavenly kingdoms of the creator is colorful. It's all nationalities in there as far as what we considered on the earth as a Chinaman, an Indian man, an African man. All these niggas is in one melting pot in the resurrection plan for creator. But then
Right.
you have false gods who may separate, separate, keep the nation separate, like black supremacists here, the white supremacists here. You know what I mean? All those are driven by deity as well. So the
Exactly.
shit run deep. You know what I'm saying? It's like we just don't get stuck on the nationality. We deal with it, but we don't stay there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because in the Wasp it says, you know what I mean, you can't, you're not gonna enter my kingdom quarreling that just keeps you on your toes. Like, all right, don't get caught up in this, don't get caught up in that. Stay on the straight and narrow.
Big bro,
That's,
you was scratching your it's like it's glinting and everything. I don't know if it's just on my side or what.
Nah, that's probably my signal. Sometimes the signal will go. Go out and in. But check this though, family. It's already 7:40. It's 20 minutes to the debate. So I'm gonna go ahead and close out so we can go ahead and, you know what I mean, tackle this debate with the brother Malachi Maccabee and the other cat. You know what I mean? I'm a it's on you. It's damn, I don't know the
Did somebody drop the link yet?
Nah, I tried to drop the link. It won't let me. But let me see if I can name the YouTube page that it's gonna be on, and then you can probably pull it up. Let me see here.
Yeah, I think Malachi Maccabee knows what he's talking about as far as like, you know.
Oh yeah, Malachi.
I've seen some of the stuff before, so I think he got it in the bag.
Yeah, big facts. And you've been studying that as well for a minute too, so I know you can verify some of the stuff that he's saying.
Yeah, I can verify certain things. He's probably more brushed up on it than I am because that was something I was privy to like back in like when I was in Jacksonville, Florida. That was back in like
he was going ham with that shit. But it's the YouTube page is Yah World 777.
Yah World 777. I'm gonna try to find it right now.
And it's called Elimination Chamber. Malachi Maccabee STL versus what's that dude name? Pro. I don't know how you pronounce it. Pro Riz 1 or something like that. Pro Rizzo 1. Yeah,
Okay.
Pro Rizzo 1. Eliminate Chamber Malachi Maccabee STL versus Prizzo 1. Yah World 777. Giving these niggas some promotion. So with that, you know what I mean? Your boy Silah Shlomo is about to sign up out of here. You know what I mean? Y'all go ahead and close out. Say peace to the righteous, gods and goddesses.
All right, y'all. See y'all in a minute.
Yes, sir.
Shalom.
All right, bro.
Shalom Aleichem.
All right,
I hit you on the messenger, King.
All right, bro. Peace and
All right,
light, bro.
Until next time, King.
All right, bro. You too.
All right, bless up, bro. Yes, family. So we're going to go ahead and close it out so we can go ahead and prepare for this debate. You know what I mean? We're going to get busy. Salute, awaken to the truth in the building. Peace to the sistren. Salute to the righteous God that's putting in that pain. You know what I mean? We got Dragon Lotus in the building. The sistren, salute. I got to get you on my live. We about to work on that next. I'm going to hit you in your messenger, see what day you available. Sometime next week, and we can get it popping. Same thing with you, Awaken to the Truth. I need to get an interview with you, get you on a panel, you know what I mean? You've been putting that pain for years. Years you've been putting that pain. I seen it. I'm like, damn, she been doing this shit damn near long as us. I'm like, all right. You feel me? So with that, man, if I forward myself, what do you say, Sharice? Messiah. Yeah, Messiah, Sharice. I ain't forget you. So lodge yourself. Your boy Silah Shlomo about to pan out. We about to chime out. You know how we do, family. Let's run the rhythm from the top. Let's get ready to watch this great debate. Boy Silah Shlomo, we out. Salute to the righteous gods and goddesses.